Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, police in Kano arrest former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido over alleged inciting statements aimed at causing mayhem during local government polls. Rivers State Governor Wike donates gunboats to the Navy to help fight crime along the waterways. National Security and Civil Defense Corps bust cement adulteration syndicate in Bauchi State. And US President Donald Trump expresses sympathy for North Korean President Kim Jong-un, describes him as a smart cookie. We begin tonight with the conflicting reports on the arrest of former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido. Channels Television's reporter in Kano says Mr. Lamido was arrested by the police and whisked away from his Sharada residence in Kano. The Force Public Relations Officer, Deputy Commissioner of Police Jimo Moshood, however, told Channels Television that Mr. Lamido responded to the invitation of the police over inciting statements, asking his supporters to cause mayhem during the local government election scheduled for July 1st. Latest reports, however, have confirmed that former Governor Lamido is still in custody of police, but that his home in Kano has been thoroughly searched, while a team of policemen from Kano have been dispatched to also search his home in Jigawa State. Mr. Lamido was governor of Jigawa State between 1999 and 2003. Meanwhile, the Kano State Police Command have been speaking about the encounter with the former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido. In a briefing about an hour ago, the police say there is nothing unusual about the invite extended to the former governor.
Investigation of complaint of inciting breach of public peace against the former Jigawa State Governor, His Excellency Alhaji Sule Lamido, by Jigawa State Government. A petition of inciting breach of public peace against the former Governor of Jigawa State, His Excellency Alhaji Sule Lamido, was received by the Office of the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 1 Headquarters Kano, from Jigawa State Government on 27th April 2017. Consequently, today, His Excellency, the former governor, honored the police invitation sent to him to come and explain to the police his response to the allegation leveled against him by Jigawa State Government. It is a statement of fact that inciting public disturbance is a criminal offense contrary to Section 114 of the Penal Code of Nigeria. His Excellency, the former governor, is currently under investigation and in police custody. The result of the investigation will be made public. Case will be charged to court on completion of the investigation.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has written an open letter to the World Bank's president, Dr. Jim Yong Kim, requesting him to use his good office and leadership position to urgently address the public perception that the World Bank is seeking to distance itself from responsibility over alleged mismanagement in the spending of recovered Abacha loot. Specifically, the organization is asking Dr. Kim to establish a special inspection panel on Nigeria to visit locations across the country to verify whether or not the projects reportedly executed by the Nigerian government with the funds were indeed executed. The group is expressing concern over the apparent lack of transparency and accountability in the spending of recovered Abacha loot. The banker told SERAP that it has no more information to provide on the status of the projects reportedly executed with the funds. Meanwhile, the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, again displayed his usual veracity when he referred to some businessmen as unfair to Nigeria's business environment. He was speaking at the weekend in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, during an interactive session with members of the Indian Professionals Forum who sought audience with him. He told the gathering that investors doing business in Nigeria should stop undermining the nation's economic policies.
Say it as it is. There are Indian companies that have been doing in Nigeria what they will not do in India. And that is unfortunate. And I hope that those of you who are doing the right thing, who really make us proud of our own association with India, will make sure that this type of thing is stopped. I have the unfortunate responsibility to have to deport some Indians for what they have done wrong. My successor brought them back. He sent them back again. The one who brought them back sent them back again. Because you see, a leopard never changes his skin. And they believe that they can bribe their way in this country. And woe betide anybody, Nigerian, non-Nigerian, who believe that he will live and corrupt this country.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Now, ahead of the 2019 general elections, constitutional lawyers have called for review and an enforcement of the ceiling on political campaign expenditure. Speaking at a colloquium convened by the former Director General of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, Professor Epiphany Azinge, the lawyers expressed displeasure over the deployment of money to win elections. They also called for the establishment of an agency to monitor the campaign expenditure of political parties.
It's the second Azinge and Azinge colloquium as lawyers and politicians gather to discuss the enforcement of a ceiling on political campaign expenditure. The chairman of the occasion sets the ball rolling.
It is in our books that political parties are not to spend large sums of money. It is even pegged. But it has never been observed. Because I'm a politician, I know it hasn't been observed.
The lead director of Center for Social Justice decries the role of money in the nation's politics.
We should be in a position to promote popular participation where everybody should be encouraged to contribute to the finances of political parties and also determine what happens in parties.
Although other lawyers criticize the absence of a level playing field for politicians, Senator Dino Melaye puts the blame at the doorstep of all Nigerians.
For me, what we have in Nigeria is greediocracy. Government of the greedy, by the greedy, and for the greedy. In this case, the politicians are greedy. The lawyers who represent us in the tribunal are very greedy. INEC, that is supposed to be the umpire, very greedy. The judges and justices were also approaching, very greedy. The electorate that is voting us, very, very greedy.
The convener of the colloquium called for the enforcement of a ceiling on political campaign expenditure.
Generally, it is manifestly evident that people don't bother complying with the laws regulating election campaign expenditure ceiling.
Participants at the gathering agree on the need to enforce political campaign expenditure. They also stress the need for a review in line with current economic realities.
To maritime security, 8 gunboats fitted with special security features with an automatic grenade firing facility have been added to the fighting power of the Nigerian Navy to police the nation's waterways. At a handover ceremony in Port Harcourt, the service chiefs and the state governor agreed that a lot more can accrue to the nation's revenue coffers if the waterways are safe. The event held at the Federal Lighter Terminal on Air, Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Our correspondent Emmanuel Irei reports.
Captain V.D. Joji,
the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, heads of security agencies, and the Governor of Rivers State are in the premises of the Federal Lighter Terminal on Air, Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The event is the launch of 8 Epanel boats donated by the Rivers State government to the Nigerian Navy in furtherance of its fight against criminality along the waterways. And after the formalities and cutting of tapes, Governor Nyesom Wike highlights security concerns in particular areas in the state.
Security is paramount. For me, you can't talk about governance without security. So you should do everything humanly possible to support the security agencies to provide security for the state.
The chief of the naval staff believes that the fight against maritime crimes requires the right support.
The imperative for all hands to be on deck to secure our common heritage could not have been more acute. A foreboding sense of concern has continued to trail the debilitating and fostering maritime security situation, whose impacts have been felt in constrained investment, arrested economic prospects, growing crime, and liability to induce instability in the polity.
Their panel boats are fitted with special security features, 12.7mm guns, and automatic grenade launchers. Attention then shifts to the parade ground of the Nigerian Navy Basic Training School for the graduation of 1,159 ratings to beef up the armed forces across the country. The Chief of Defense Staff also charges the ratings to be disciplined and professional.
Discipline and prompt obedience of superior orders are the watchwords for your future progress. You must exhibit total and unflinching loyalty to the service and to the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria.
With adequate equipment, regular training and capacity building, many believe the Nigerian Armed Forces can remain a powerhouse for the security of lives and property. Emmanuel Irei, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the Nigerian Air Force is commencing the expansion and upgrade of facilities at the flight line of the Nigerian Air Force Base in Yola. According to the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Abubakar Siddiq, this is to equip the officers with necessary skills and also help in fighting insurgency. He was speaking in Adamawa during conversation with officials of the military.
Much has happened in the last few weeks in terms of induction of new aircraft into the Air Force, which was done in Makurdi last weekend. And we have also been able to reactivate quite a number of aircraft. So I'm here to see the kind of expansion we are undertaking to accommodate this newly inducted aircraft, so that we are comfortable that if they are flown here, the infrastructure is quite adequate for them to be able to operate from Yola. And from here, I'm also going to Maiduguri to look at what the situation is like in Maiduguri. Our pilots, some of them just came back from Egypt. So training is a continuous process. Terrorism or no terrorism, training will always be there.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Bauchi State commanders uncovered the activities of a cement adulteration syndicate. The suspected persons are accused of producing large quantities of cement in adulterated form by mixing the original with sand. NSCDC Bauchi State Commandant Ibrahim Raji further reveals that the command also identified those in the business of fertilizer adulteration. Also in the custody of the NSCDC Bauchi are vandals of NEPA and NITIL cables and a suspected criminal who dresses as a woman in hijab to steal from the state specialist hospital.
Look at the way the enemy of the nations, look at the way they are jeopardizing the effort of the government. So somebody now, you buy fertilizer, you wouldn't know that it have already been mixed with ordinary sand. That looks like fertilizer. The one downstairs, so that is the adulterated of this thing of cement, mixed with a sand that look like cement. We have almost 50 bags on the ground discovered. In some local government, in some area, there will be no light for more than 3-4 months. Why? Because the cable that is supplying the light into a particular place, it has been vandalized by the vandalizers. So therefore, we deem it necessary to expand our activities to expand our surveillance rate so that we will be able to get all these perpetrators.
In part two, after the break, debate on local government autonomy continues with differing opinions among state governments and intellectuals. Just stay with us.